All right, let's jump into the Week 13 main slate. Who do you like for stacks?
So I'm going with Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk, and Zay Jones. So a double stack. And anytime I've really just gone all in on the Jaguars offense, it's paid off this year. I was on them in week 3 against the Chargers, and then a couple weeks ago against the Chiefs. And I've been really cautious, going all in with Lawrence just because he's flashed at times this year, but he's struggled to be consistent. But it's about 2 to 3 games now where he's been playing at a high level. Looked great last week against the Ravens. So I think he's going to keep it going here against the Lions. Just my model just loves Christian Kirk and Zay Jones. We talked about that on the other pod. It's a really top-heavy offense right now. This could be just a pass-heavy, high-scoring game for the Jaguars. It's the second highest total of the week at 51.5. And if Travis Etienne is, limited at all or ruled out this week, they're going to have to lean on the passing game even more. So I just like stacking Lawrence with his boys and Kirk and Jones. And then I'm sticking with this game and just going with Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's always great stacking these two because, St. Brown, he just has such a high target share. The offense just really flows through him. So stacking him with Goff is always a good option. And just stacking this game as much as possible is going to be my strategy this weekend. I think Jameson Williams could make his debut here. He could be pretty limited early on, but that's just going to be a vertical element to this offense that we just really haven't seen yet. So it could open up the offense a bit. And Jameson Williams himself is probably too pricey to play this week. So I kind of like investing in him through Jared Goff. So I just like the idea of stacking Goff and Brown and having Jameson Williams open up the offense even more, and maybe even making Amon St. Brown even better. So I love just stacking this game as much as possible.
Yeah, and Jared Goff probably ain't going off if Amon-Ra doesn't go off. So you got
True.
the true correlation there.
Yep.
All right, is anyone else or?
No, that's it.
I am going with Mike White and Garrett Wilson. They're both of them are super cheap, so I really like this stack. Talked about it on the other pod, but the Vikings are 29th in DVOA against number 1 wide receivers, and Garrett Wilson has had a 20-point game with Mike White, Zach Wilson, and Joe Flacco. So, he's kind of proven to have upside regardless of the quarterback, and this is probably the best quarterback that the Jets have had all year. He's running a route 90% or more of the time each of the past 4 weeks, so he should stay in that range in this one. So I really think that's under the radar, or maybe it won't be super under the radar, but I think White stack. Wilson will probably be very popular, but I think stacking White with him is something you want to do here. Also, like Jimmy Garoppolo and Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, or George Kittle, any 2 of the 3, because this San Francisco offense right now, they've just lost Elijah Mitchell. Christian McCaffrey's banged up as well. So, and Miami is top 5 in early down success rate against the run. So this might be a matchup where there's a variety of reasons why the Niners may have to pass more than usual. 1, they may just struggle to run the football. 2, this is one of the better offenses they've seen. So, you never know. We are kind of down on some of the Dolphins offense, but Tua and them could just light it up again and, put up points and force the Niners to have to put up points going back the other way. And they certainly can. They have all the weapons. So, I think this Dolphins defense is easier to throw on than run on. And there's a lot of familiarity here with McDaniel and going back to his old team and Shanahan. So I think you're going to see some offense from both sides regardless. So like Jimmy G and getting on that stack with his top receivers.
No, yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And love the Wilson Mike White said, I was shocked to see how cheap Garrett Wilson still is. Remember last week he was 4,300. I was like, this would make sense if Zach Wilson's the quarterback, but he's too talented. But, guys like Alan Lazard, Tyler Boyd are more expensive than Garrett Wilson, who is your wide receiver 9 this week, as he should be. But it just makes zero sense. And even Mike White, he's 5,400. Just stacking those guys, you can still spend up at the other position. So ton of upside with that stack this week.
All right, who do you like for dart throws?
Well, I'm going with the Jets here, but I'm going a little bit more under the radar with Corey Davis at 4,100. He returned action last week. He only caught one ball for 9 yards. Not that we're ever expecting massive games from Corey Davis, but he saw a 74% route participation, and he should be there going forward. He's always mainstay in like the top two sets. So Mike White elevates every pass catcher in this offense, Corey Davis included. So it'll come eventually. Plus, they're playing a Vikings defense that's played zone at the second highest rate. Corey Davis, he's popping my model that factors that in, where he averages 0.65 yards per route run against man. That goes up to 2.01 versus zone. So I like the matchup as well. And he should be under the radar as well. And then DeAndre Carter, got to stick with him again. He's 3,900. Yeah. I think he was like 37. He's a top 3 receiver and one of the best passing attacks in football. So as long as Mike Williams is out, I'm going to be playing DeAndre Carter as much as possible if he's under 4K. Another good matchup this week against the Raiders. And then Chase Claypool might be the cheapest number 1 receiver I've ever seen at 3,800. So while this isn't a passing attack I really want to invest in most of the time, just buying in on his upside, at least as being the new number 1 with Darnell Mooney, unfortunately out for the season, makes a ton of sense. So just got to sprinkle some Claypool in some GPPs as a result. And one of my favorite under the radar plays this week is Juwan Jennings at 3,200 against the Dolphins. A lot of the things that you were saying, this could be more of a pass heavy, maybe a trailing game script. Either way, it could be a shootout against the Dolphins. But, the Dolphins play man coverage at the second highest rate. And Chris McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, all tend to do way better against zone coverage. Maybe that's a Jimmy
Garoppolo thing. Does
yeah, better. That's a Jimmy G thing. And CMC, it's just running backs. It's a little bit tougher to see passing usage against man, but the only pass catcher who gets a boost from this type of coverage is Juwan Jennings. And he is always sneaky. Last week, he caught 6 balls for 49 yards and a touchdown against the Saints. So he's always a great flyer, but this week, even more so. He's 3,200. So sign me up for Juwan Jennings. And last but not least, it's always hard to find running backs as dart throws, just because the floor of the pricing is much higher now than it has been. But Jerick McKinnon, 4,500 against the Bengals. This could be a game script that sets up, nicely for McKinnon. The past couple weeks have been perfect for Isaiah Pacheco. And McKinnon, I don't even think he saw a catch last week or a carry or something. He was basically phased out, but he's their clear pass catching back. This could be a game where they're actually forced to throw, for all 4 quarters. They might even get in a trailing game script against the Bengals. So, McKinnon had 2 games of 6 catches just a couple weeks ago. So we could see that type of production here. He's the new min price at running back. So I think he's sneaky here in GPPs.
Yeah, it's so tough to predict him, but yeah,
right.
Jerick McKinnon, man. I mean, if he goes off, he goes off. He has multiple touchdown upside. I mean,
yep.
For me, I like Richie James Jr. ran a route 87% of the time last week, so he's kind of back in that top slot role for the Giants, that Wan'Dale Robinson role. So like him here, just cheap source of routes. Quez Watkins, also, your boy, saw 83% route participation rate last week. He's under 4K on DraftKings, so another guy who I think could pop off here. The Eagles still kind of looking for that third target, and Watkins has kind of been popping up and getting more than his usual 1 catch these last few games. He's got multiple catches in 4 straight games, which is big for him, and touchdowns in 2 straight as well. So like Quez Watkins, I think Elijah Moore is sneaky, especially if you're using Mike White and Garrett Wilson. You could also go Elijah Moore here, even contrarian and Moore instead of Wilson, because I think, as long as White is under center, Elijah Moore, he's still probably not going to get the routes he was getting earlier in the year, but we saw what he could do, in that last game where he caught 2 passes for 64 yards and a touchdown. He might start running the routes like a normal slot receiver. Like he might get up into, the 70-80%. We don't know. So I think that he's a really sneaky guy against the defense that not really you don't really worry about in Minnesota. And who else did I like? Who was somebody else? Oh yeah, Justin Watson's at 3,200 for the Chiefs. You know, like this guy, he just running the most routes in this wide receiving core right now. And even with Juju back last week, he continued to see more routes than Juju, more routes than Sky Moore, pretty much right there with MVS. So, I don't know exactly what Andy Reid's plan is with this, but I'll take advantage of a cheap Chiefs receiver in a game with the highest total of the week. Yeah, sign me up for that.
Yeah.
Sky Moore is not a bad one either at 3,100, but Watson, I think, is going to be less popular because Sky Moore, he's got a little more hype around him as a rookie.
And we're assuming Kadarius Toney's out again this week.
I mean, even if he plays, I think Watson, because it's not the same role. Like Watson's more of an outside guy, so they're just using him more on more as a perimeter receiver right now. So
yeah, Tony would be the Sky Moore. He would eat into that role for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we think it's
who knows? Who knows? If he could even get through a full game, but was that it?
And Tyra Conklin, talked about him on the other pod, but I have him as a top 10 tight end. He's 3,100, so like him as well.
But yeah, I have to go back to Quez Watkins because that's my boy. Love that call, and it seems like they don't have Dallas Goedert, obviously, and the tight ends aren't getting that production.
Nope.
And it's kind of going to Quez Watkins, so he's kind of that number 3 wide receiver, the lead tight end kind of role. That's not really his playing style, but he has definitely been more consistent since Goddard went down, and he always has that massive ceiling. And I just realized it is a revenge game for AJ Brown this week. So I'm gonna have to bump his target share up, but I just realized that now that AJ Brown will probably go off this week as well.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good stack with Jalen Hurts. It's a little pricey, but yeah, I have him as my wide receiver 6 this week. So like that one. And another speaking of stacks, another one that I like, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. I mean, if Jamar Chase comes back, like he's cheaper than he usually is. He's under 8K. And, if he has that questionable tag, it might throw people off of him in terms of his rostership. So that's another one. Just wanted to throw that out there what we're talking about.
Even if he's limited, let's say like 60-70% routes run rate, he could still go off. He doesn't need to be on the field too much to make a difference. So yeah, if that's going to be under the radar this week, sign me up.
All right, let's build some lineups.
Well, I like the idea of the Mike White, Garrett Wilson stack. You don't think it's going to be?
I think Wilson will be very popular. White,
but stacking them.
White might be a little less so. Yeah.
Okay. How about the other? Like, is it? Go on the other side. Oh yeah, definitely stackable with the Vikings. Yeah, let's do it. So I'll start it off with Mike White.
All right. Mike White. 5,400.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett's also pretty cheap too. Just notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good cheap options this week.
All right, so I'll go Garrett Wilson here, get the stack in 5,300. Yep.
All right, we can send it back with a Dalvin Cook or a Justin Jefferson, but I'm gonna go with it's really either Christian Kirk or Zay Jones. They're both way too cheap. I'm gonna go with Zay Jones though, so we can spend up somewhere 49. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
What was he earlier this season? He was always in like
41, 42.
Yeah.
Nope.
At least he's up, but yeah, at this point he's got to be over 5K. It's just he's always underpriced, so got to take advantage while we can.
All right, so we got Zay Jones at 4,900, average of 57.33. I'll get the defense out of the way. Let's see. Let's go with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Nice. I was gonna
So
say.
let's hope. I know the Falcons run a lot, but
Right.
still don't trust Marcus Mariota. And I like how the Steelers played the Colts. They really shut him down for a
Mhm.
good portion of that first half. So Falcons like to run too. So
Yep.
take me some TJ Watt, some Cam Hayward against that Falcons offense for 2,600. All right. So we got an average of 63.60 left for two running backs, wide receiver, tight end, flex.
All right. Not too many like obvious plays at running back. But Dalvin Cook is pretty cheap. So I think like I'd want to send it back with him. And you made some good points with, just Kirk Cousins against this good, pass defense. Let's go with Dalvin Cook having a big weekend. He's pretty cheap too. He's 7,200. So he's like the 10th most expensive running back or something like that. But yeah, let's go with him for this Jet stack.
Yeah, had a
Send
really
it
rough
back.
week last week.
Yeah.
40, what is it, 56 yards on 26
Yeah.
touches, no touchdowns.
He's still legit though.
Oh, absolutely.
He rarely has two bad games. Yeah, I'm looking. He hasn't had a two bad game stretch this year.
Except the last two.
Well, yeah. This is against the Cowboys, 11 carries, 72 yards. For him,
Yeah,
that's bad.
that's 7 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I like it. All right, so we got 6,150 left for running back, wide receiver, tight end, flex. See what we got at tight end. Let's go with Foster Moreau at 3,600.
Oh, yeah.
Running a route pretty much every time. He's playing all the tight end snaps. So
Yep.
got him at the top 10. I think we both have him as the top 10 tight end this week. So
absolutely. I think that 3,900 to 3,100 range is the sweet spot at tight end this week. You got Dave Njoku with Deshaun Watson under center. Moreau, obviously he's great. Hayden Hurst.
Yep.
And Conklin, right in that like sweet spot where you can get them pretty cheap and they're all like top 10 tight ends. So yeah, love the Moreau play. So that gives us
7K flat.
wow. I'll go with Amon Ra at 7,100.
All right. Can't go wrong with him.
Nope.
He's just so good. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
He just finds his way open almost every time he runs a route.
I'm not as high on Dameon Pierce as you are this week, but at his price, he's got to be popping in your model.
Oh yeah, he's 50.
He's 5,900.
The only thing is, what is he on FanDuel? Because he is better FanDuel play.
Yeah, totally.
Is he more? Let me see what his price.
Do you think they're going to keep it close? Like, what do you think about the spread on that game?
7. I mean,
do you think they'll be able to cover that and keep it close to like have a balanced, offense?
I think they could have like similar to some of those other Dameon Pierce games where like the Eagles game, it wasn't like super close, but yeah. I do think they'll be able to get back to running the ball with him more than they did against that Dolphins defense.
Yeah, he looks relative to price same on FanDuel and obviously a better play there, so we can use him.
Yeah.
On that team, he's 6,500 there.
Let's go with Aaron Jones against this terrible Chicago run defense. We'll see what happens with Rodgers, but
yeah,
it'll be a pretty big workload for Aaron Jones here.
Jordan Love looked pretty good though.
Oh yeah, he did. But you still got to run it on Chicago, like
yeah, for sure. But yeah, the Packers have a bye next week. If there were time to let Rodgers heal, it'd be now. But it already sounds like he's going to play. He's not going to let Jordan Love Wally Pip him or Aaron Rodgers him, I should say.
Right.
So 7K. Thank you. Let's see. So, well, there's not many guys in that range. I would have ETM. We don't even know if he's going to play.
Got Keenan Allen, Debo, and Andrews, DK Metcalf.
Ooh, Metcalf.
Cooper, Christian Kirk. Yeah, that's basically it's probably in that DK, Andrews, Debo, Keenan Allen range.
Yeah, man, just got to go with Cooper here for his upside. it's really a toss up between him and well, Keenan Allen's probably more of a cash game play, I think, but DK always has a big ceiling. But yeah, let's go with Cooper with Watson under center for the first game. But that leaves us with a whopping 600 left over, which is actually perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes it less likely that somebody will have the exact
Yep.
same lineup. And you can always kind of mess around with the defenses and make variations of it. All right. Go with Kenny Pickett, 6,700.
Nice. Yeah, way too cheap. What only Kyle Allen is cheaper? Is that
and Russell
correct?
Wilson and Russell Wilson.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously. God, that's crazy to even think that. But yeah, well, I have Bryce Perkins higher than Russell Wilson. I guess that makes sense because he actually gets rushing yards. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, the question is, who do we stack him with?
George Pickens.
Well, yeah,
Deontay doesn't have a touchdown yet, so I'm gonna say George Pickens.
Well, yeah, exactly. Let's see.
Or Freiermuth. I mean,
no, I know. Freiermuth is. But I think, just when it comes to ceiling, I'm gonna go with Pickens.
Yeah.
Yep. Tight end, there's some pretty good value out there. Yeah, let's go with Pickens.
All right. I'll throw in Dameon Pierce. Cheaper than Brian Robinson, Gus Edwards, AJ Dillon. I mean, this is outrageous.
Hey, Brian Robinson had a good game last week.
Yeah, I know, but like Pierce didn't just, two very tough matchups, and now he gets one of the.
I'm gonna have to get one of those big hats, the Commander's hat specifically that he was wearing. But yeah, Pierce just way too cheap on FanDuel. Holy moly. Cook as well. Sheesh. All right. Well, God, Debo is super cheap on FanDuel as well. 6,800.
Yeah, I don't mind that. They're gonna need him. Christian McCaffrey banged up, Mitchell out. Like he might spike in carries this week.
Yeah, with McCaffrey being banged up too. Yeah, I think Debo. And then I promise I'll pick a defense on my next pick. I'll do the dirty work.
All right. So we still got we don't have a defense yet, but we got 6,600 average. Let's see.
We didn't go with Conklin on DK, right? Oh, we went with Moreau.
Yeah, we went with Moreau.
He's cheap on FanDuel.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Conklin at 5K.
He's dirt cheap. Jeez. Yeah, same price as Cole Kmet. All right, so that leaves us. Well, let me take a defense now, and then we'll really know how much we have left. But I got to go with Commanders here.
All right.
It's a tough week on defense. Some of the better defenses aren't on the main slate. I'm realizing.
Yeah.
Not really good. Usually, you could just pick on whoever faces the Texans, but it's the Browns this week. So some really weird matchups. But I like the Commanders against the Giants here. Let's go with them.
All right, so that leaves us an average of 8K, a little over 8K.
Oh, wow.
For running back, wide receiver, flex. So let's go with let's go Derrick Henry, 8,800 against the Eagles run D.
Nice.
So now we got 7,700 for wide receiver and a flex.
Definitely doable. I'm going to go with Christian Watson at 6,500. Yes. He seems like a better FanDuel play as well. I mean, perfect.
Yeah. Well,
he's not really going to get. He's not getting like a 10 catch game or anything like that. 3 catches for 9 yards and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, way too cheap. I mean, he's probably going to be chalky, but I don't care. Just you got to shoot for the moon when it comes to GPPs. So let's go with him, and that gives you 8,900. Jeez.
I'm going to go with
oh man.
Let's go with so Josh Jacobs had the big game last week. Let's go with Devontae Adams to come back with one this week. 8,600 against the Chargers in what could be a very high scoring game as well. So we got
Yep.
Pickett, 6,700. Pierce, 6,500 at running back, with Derrick Henry at 8,800. And then our wide receivers are Deebo Samuel at 6,800 against the Dolphins, Christian Watson, 6,500 against the Bears, George Pickens, 6,700 against the Falcons in a stack with Pickett. Our tight ends, Tyler Conklin at 5K. And we got Devontae in the flex at 8,600. And the Commanders D at 4,100, 300 left on the table. That's always good. Like it.
Yeah, no, it's a great team.
Kenny Pickett, yeah. I mean, what, like you said, two rookies that still haven't had their true signature moment yet.
It's gonna happen.
Pickens making a lot of great catches though, so maybe gets I can see a two touchdown game for him at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
All right. So that is going to do it for the Week 13 Fantasy Flex Fantasy Preview Podcast. If you want to check out our fantasy rankings and projections, actionnetwork.com. If you want to follow us on Twitter, Sean's at @the_oddsmaker. I'm at Chris Raybon. You can find us at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app, fantasylabs.com for our DFS tools and models. We'll be back later in the week with the night shift episode. Until next time, let's get this shmoney.